not just you. And it's not in a harsh tone. It's in an advisory tone of friendship and unity and success. And I want that more than anything. I want us to succeed. And I think this is an issue we need to stay away from. We need to focus on what unites us, and that's the tyranny that we are facing, the corporate tyranny, the legal tyranny. It all makes for one ugly situation that we need to fix and stop and throw off. And by discussing these hot-button issues of cultural diversity, et cetera, we are going to stunt any growth we have. And I just think it's best we pursue the growth of this movement and how we can find people to unite with us and in our effort of remedy. So I yield. Thank you.
Well, since you're talking to me too, this is David. I'm going to disagree a little bit there, Mike, because I think that what just transpired between Lewis and I shows people how to properly address this matter without offending one another. Both Lewis and I think that we had appropriate conversation there that brought an issue to the table that is a hot item, so to speak, and we just demonstrated on this recording how it can be properly addressed and with respect to one another as friends and as equals. So I think that the more we as our group can circulate this type of what do you call it? Where we're interfacing with one another in this way, the more the better. I yield.
Yeah, if I may, interaction, is that the word you were looking for?
Dialogue or interface, and I think it was a combination.
I got too many things going on in my mind. Yeah, both of them.
If I may, though, I would agree with everything you just said. That's a given. The interaction, the dialogue you just exhibited was excellent. It remained civil, and that's hard to find in today's political environment. Most of the time, that discussion leads to screaming, yelling, fights, bullets, death, etc. So I would agree with you there, but I think we need to caution ourselves and keep those discussions to a minimum. I think we would be better suited to address what unites us rather than what divides us, because we have far more greater in number of issues that unites us. And that, I think, would benefit us far more, and it would spend our time more valuable that way, too. That's all. I don't disagree with what you just said, David. I think you made an excellent point, and it's very valid, and it was a beautiful display of unity. Yeah, I agree. I yield. Thank you.
Well, if I may, this gets into Nikki's discussion, I think, at the very beginning, of this conference call, and that deals with the fact that the founders of this Constitution chose not to address certain things. Maybe it was Charles that had read this, because I seemed to think that I was reading it at the same time, that the founders chose not to address certain negative things that were going on and chose to only focus on the positive things, and now that's a point of criticism here. So, if it's a point of criticism for something that occurred a couple of centuries ago, then certainly if we do it now, it will be a point of criticism either now or, in the future. So go figure. I yield.
If I might, Charles here, love the discussion, love the free and open exchange of ideas and kind of hammering out consensus there. I think the root prompt of the discussion here is my routine reference to Anglo-Saxon traditions as the source of our common law and Anglo-American interpretations of constitutions and articles of confederation and things like that. And I think I've mentioned this to Lewis, and I've put it in my writings, I think, to some extent, but Mr. Blackstone has referenced that the hierarchy of the tens and fifties and hundreds and thousands, which are the community organizing foundational structure of common law, the Anglo-Saxon common law tradition. Mr. Blackstone referenced that those were also happening in Central American native tribes before the Roman Catholics came in and murdered them all. Okay? So this isn't just Anglo-Saxon. There were multitudes of communities that were doing this. At one time, we might have to go back to legends of Atlantis and Lemuria, way back ancient history. It's only legend now. We don't know what all the obscure history is for all of these things. But this model of government that's referenced in Exodus 18 of the tens and the fifties and the hundreds and the thousands, that continued on in the Anglo-Saxon tradition. And from Mr. Blackstone's reference of the Central American communities having it, it is clear that it wasn't just in ancient Israel, it wasn't just in ancient Anglo-Saxon common law England, it was also in Central America. And that indicates that it was probably pretty much worldwide before the Roman slave traders came in and started obliterating and destroying all of these smaller communities that were trying to responsibly self-govern in that manner. Okay? So my only concluding comment here is that it's a healthy discussion, and I love the way Lewis is just taking and editing out that kind of stuff. It's not about credit to the Anglo-Saxons. It's about establishing our responsibly self-governing communities. And anybody of any ethnic background that wants to embrace this, God bless you. God bless you, because you're doing righteous, godly work in promoting righteous, responsible, self-governing communities, and that's the bottom line. That's all we need to worry about. And Michael, with all due respect, I appreciate your concerns, and it can get inflammatory, like what you're concerned about, but I do think that these kind of discussions are part of the pain that we must endure, as long as we're keeping it respectful. I don't like that word civil, but as long as we're keeping it respectful, calm tones of voice, this is healthy stuff. We'll get back on track, So anyway, I just wanted to say that. I appreciate the discussion. I would like to get back to the treason document, but I'll yield here in case we want to talk a little bit more about this issue. I yield.
Well, if I may, I would agree with the word civil. I used that inadvertently, and I agree with you completely. It's not something we would want to use, but